I don't know if AI is going to take our jobs in the next 5 hours, 5 days, or 5 years, but it's coming. We're in for a very chaotic time. And a lot of people are going to need a lot of help because we're going to need to reinvent ourselves. You're going to need to reinvent what you do, your work, your life. Imagine and picture this. You are working on an incredible new product, an incredible new device that you've been so excited about. And the CEO of Google is on stage talking to the whole world, unveiling this magnificent product. Google has decided to make a phone that is going to compete against the iPhone. And you're behind the scenes working to make sure everything works perfectly. You have millions of people online watching it, and you are there just watching the keynote, super excited, right? You've been working on this for the past 3 years. And this matters because, you put a lot of care into this beautiful product. And then you get one email, and the email says urgent. You've all received that email that you don't want to open, and you're like, okay, everything is fine. Is from the factory, and they're saying there's an issue with the antenna that we didn't foresee. We're not going to be able to ship any phones anytime soon. Can you start feeling that sensation of fear, a little bit of stress? Maybe your hands start sweating a little bit. You picture yourself going into Walmart and buying Verizon and all empty shelves, no Black Friday, no Christmas. You're probably gonna lose your job. Somebody's gonna have to take care of this mess. You're gonna have to meet the CEO of Google and tell him, oh yeah, by the way, we're sorry, you were just on stage, but it's not gonna happen. Can you feel the anxiety behind all of this, and how sometimes when we're at work and we're doing something that we really care and then it bubbles up? That was me in 2016, and I didn't know it back then, but I was having my first full-on panic attack in the middle of the Google headquarters. And it's funny about panic attacks that once you have one, the body kind of unlocks that feature, and now it knows how to do it. Who here has had relationships with stress and panic? I didn't get fired, but I did work there for another 5 years. It was a wonderful experience, but by the end I was completely burnt out. By the time I ended my time at Google, I don't know if anyone here has gone to a psychiatrist, but usually they end up prescribing an anti-anxiety medication. And that's where my healing journey started. Maybe there is an easier way to deal with this. Who thinks here that meditation is a good tool for stress? Raise your hand. Right? But it's not easy to meditate, especially when you're dealing with stress and anxiety and you're overwhelmed. I really tried. It was hard. And I got really interested in some specific moments that I had during meditation that it really cleared all of my thoughts in my mind. I'm like, okay, there's something into it. But my engineering mind was like, but how does this work? It all comes down to our breath. Let's actually all take a deep breath in together. Higher, higher. Hold it and exhale. Why didn't your lungs just explode? Apparently we have really cool receptors, very, very powerful receptors inside our lungs that when we stretch the lungs and they get overcapacity, they create a very small spike in voltage, and that electrical signal gets sent to the brain and tell it it's enough, it's time to exhale. And when it contracts, the same receptor sends another spike in voltage signal that goes all the way to the brain, and it tells it, now we need to inhale. An incredible tool that we have inside. We have 2 of those. How is it that this signal is going from your lungs to your brain? There's something called the vagus nerve. And the most interesting thing about the vagus nerve is that it's extremely important. It affects your autonomic system, your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, your digestive system, even your immune system. It's a very, very powerful tool. And I got really fascinated about how does the vagus nerve work. The pattern that you're breathing is generating different electrical spikes, and that is data. So we're actually sending data depending on how we breathe. We're sending data to the brain to actually change all of our physiology. And that is very powerful. The fibers of the vagus nerve are 80% afferent. Afferent means that it goes up. So 80% of the data is going from your body to your brain, and only 20% from your brain to your body, which means that your physiology is 4 times more stronger than your cognitive abilities. So I got really interested into what happens when this nerve gets activated. What is sending a signal? What happens is really interesting. It touches the amygdala, which is your fear and stress center in your brain. The amygdala, when it starts calming down, it sends a signal to the hypothalamus to rebalance your hormones and your neurotransmitters. So as you start calming down, because your breath, because the vagus nerve is telling it to calm down, your hormones, your cortisol and your adrenaline start decreasing. So there is less inflammation in your body. Your neurotransmitters, serotonin, start going up, beta endorphins, GABA, all of those start going up, and the entire system starts calming down. Your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down, That's how we can actually activate calmness and zen in your whole body. Actually, let's do a test. If you can all stand up, because I know that all of you have tried meditation. We're gonna make it a little bit more interesting. If you have meditated for at least 2 days in a row, you can stand up. If you have never meditated for 2 days in a row, sit down. 3 days in a row, you can stand up, otherwise sit down. All right, look at all these gurus here. If you've meditated for at least a week, you can stand up. If you have never meditated for an entire week, you can sit down. How about 1 month? Who here has done 3 months of strict, steady meditation? That's a really strong habit. Wow, I love it. What about 6 months? What about a year? An entire year of meditation. What a treat. 95% of people who start meditating drop after 30 days. If you download an app, 95% chances you will stop within 30 days. Why? So there's 3 ways to activate the vagus nerve. One way is through breathing, as we mentioned. Second way to activate the vagus nerve is how do you bring as much oxygen and blood from your legs and your hands to your chest and your head? Turns out that cold water and cold exposure does that. When you touch cold water, especially with your face, turns out a mammalian reflex that is telling your body you're gonna drown. And it's starting to conserve all the oxygen and energy and blood that it can, so it brushes it all to your head. That's why it feels a little bit tingling sometimes when you go into cold exposure. That's a really good way to calm down quickly and activate your vagus nerve. What about if we can mimic those receptors on your lungs? What if we can exactly replicate that signal that is going through the vagus nerve? I'm wearing a Roga headset. This is a vagus nerve stimulator, and the focus of this vagus nerve stimulator and our mission is to help as many people as we can to bring you down into a relaxation state, to reduce stress, to reduce the activation, and that's called bringing you into the parasympathetic system, which is when you calm down, when you relax. I got really interested about this when I quit Google, started looking into, okay, who are the best neuroscientists in the world that I can find? Turns out the majority of the research is being done in Canada, in Waterloo, also in Stanford University in California. So I partnered with both universities and started doing testing because I really wanted to know what was going on here. And I'm not a scientist, but I really understand the pragmacy of learning it through clinical trials. We had people coming in from different ages that were in severe states of chronic stress and anxiety, and we managed to reduce their symptoms by 47% in a few weeks. And that's 22% increase in sleep. That's an entire hour that they were sleeping more. 29% increase in focus. They can actually procrastinate less. It'll change your life if you can actually make those changes so subtle. So for me, that was a really big moment. So we went from the first Roga devices were soldered together in my kitchen, and slowly the team has grown and we have a big mission. We've launched earlier this year and we've helped over 2,000 people. 2,000 people that we managed to help to reduce stress, to come back to aliveness. Raise your hand if you've ever had stress at work. How about stress with a partner? How about stress due to health? How about stress due to finance? How about stress due to political uncertainty or wars? We live in a very chaotic world right now. The world is falling apart out there. This is a great tribe. You know, I don't know if AI is going to take our jobs in the next 5 hours, 5 days, or 5 years, but it's coming. We're in for a very chaotic time. And a lot of people are going to need a lot of help because we're going to need to reinvent ourselves. You're going to need to reinvent what you do, your work, your life. So who is this for? Why did we build this? This is for you if you've been on a stressful journey. You've been stressed for so long, you don't think you'll ever calm down. It's because you haven't had a good sleep in months. And no amount of therapy will help you get out. So this is for the leaders, this is for the caregivers, for the perfectionists, for the problem solvers. What do all those people have in common? They care deeply about their problems. The reason you're suffering from that is because you care too much, which is why I love those kind of people. We tried to build something that was very low friction because meditation is hard. So you can't just create a habit. Habits are so hard to come up. You just saw how few people can maintain a habit for a year. Imagine 10 years or your entire life. We built it so that you can use Roga without having to do a new habit. You can stack it up, let's say the worst meeting of your week. You can wear it in public. We made it fashionable for that reason. But most importantly, I got tired of seeing people suffer from stress. My mission is to relieve that and improve the quality of life of as many people as we can.